everyone, and welcome to Candid Conversations with Rennu Dhillon, a Building Women Empowered initiative, empowering women everywhere. What is Candid Conversations? Well, let's begin with the word candid, which means straightforward, truthful, and frank. What does conversation mean? An informal chat between two or more people where ideas, stories, and information is exchanged. So combined, we have Candid Conversations with Rennu Dhillon. Every woman has a unique life experience to share. It could be personal or professional. By sharing your story on this show, you will use and find your voice to inspire others to find their voice too. Through these personal stories, which are unfiltered and uncensored, straight from the heart, women will empower other women to make incredible things happen. My goal is to empower you, and in turn, you empower me, and together we empower women everywhere. I want every girl and woman to know that her voice can change the world. So if you know any woman out there that has a story to tell, be sure to reach out to me on the email and number on the screen. I strongly believe that when women can find their voice, they will conquer anything and everything. So let our voices be the revolution for change. After all, a woman is a full circle, for within her is the power to create, nurture, and transform. Enjoy the show today. Today's show is called Breaking the Barriers, and our special guest is Anusha Dhulipala. Anusha is the author of Breaking the Barriers. She's an empowered woman who was born and raised in the city of Hyderabad, India, and currently resides in San Jose, California. She's completed her MBA and is pursuing her doctorate. From a very early age, Anusha has been vocal against patriarchy, misogyny, and predefined roles amongst countless other social ills. Anusha is also keenly aware of the societal oppression of women in both worlds. She's utilized her knowledge and experience to write this remarkable piece of fiction. Through Breaking the Barriers, she intends to highlight the endless social evils against women that continue to persist in India and throughout the world. Let's welcome Anusha to our show and have a candid conversation with her. Welcome, Anusha. Welcome to Candid Conversations with Rennu Dhillon. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. And first of all, Rennu, I am so incredibly grateful for this opportunity, to share the space with such an amazing, inspiring person. I feel so blessed to share my life experiences and lessons that I've learned in my life so far. So thank you very much.
Well, I'm looking forward to getting to know you because I know we've always run into each other socially, but never really got to know each other. So hopefully this conversation today will give me that opportunity and everyone else to get to know you. So Absolutely. Let's begin, Anusha. I know you're very well known in the Bay Area. I see you at a lot of events. And so let's learn about who's Anusha first. Where were you born? How you grew up? What was your background? People like to know a little bit about you. So
sure. So I was born and brought up in south part of India, which is Hyderabad. I was born in raised in a Hindu Brahmin family, a very conservative family. So lots of restrictions and lots of norms, I was brought up with. Just a little bit of background from where I come from, and more deep dive into why we are doing this. As everyone knows, that I have recently come out as a lesbian. So it was not easy for me, the journey I've had so far. It has been really painful. And, definitely a lot I've been through.
I can imagine. I mean, just, you telling me this and, that's another reason why I wanted to have this conversation with you is because I think especially in our community, being Indian, and because I know some of the westernized communities are a bit more open, but I know especially as Indians, we tend to shy away from all these important topics, anything to do with rape, homosexuality. I mean, just even talking about sex, nobody wants to even do that. And it's a shame because I think if our parents and our families had educated us a little bit more and exposed us a little bit more, maybe some of us would not have had some of the experiences that we have had in our lives. So thank you for coming out. And I commend you for coming out in the open because it takes a lot of courage. So I really commend you for that.
Yeah.
So when you say you were growing up in a very strict family, did you realize when you were young that you were a lesbian? Or is this, I mean, people often wonder,
Sure. So I knew it when I was probably like 12, 13 years old. I was not really sure about what was going on in my head that at that point of time, because in 1990s, there were not many resources, especially to understand this language, especially, to understand the concept of LGBT, because undoubtedly LGBT individuals have endured for generations and continue to face prejudice everywhere. So it was like a social taboo, and also kind of a sin for people to even talk about it. So I had nobody to speak to, especially when I was going through lots of mixed emotions inside. Like, let's say if everybody is sitting and watching a movie when I was a teenager, like all of the girls would be watching Hrithik Roshan, but I would be watching Deepika, let's say. At that point of time, my conscience really got curious, and I'm like, what is this I'm feeling? Because this is not definitely usual, because it's completely abnormal, is what people think. But for me, it's just that you're different from other person. That's it. But again, I wanted to understand what was going inside me, because I never knew that there was a concept of LGBT at that point of time. So I did a lot of research on Google. I found out that there are homosexual relationships, and there's LGBTQ individuals, and a lot more. By watching a couple of movies and all of that, I learned that okay, this is something which is possible. I did not even know that this could actually happen. Then I consulted a psychologist, and I started therapy sessions with him, because at first I was in complete denial, because I thought this is this is what not my society have taught me. Once you are born, they actually label you as a male or female,
Correct.
saying this is your sex. They put a tag on you saying that Anusha is a woman. So typically how we were taught is, okay, since I'm a woman, I'm supposed to only fall in love with a man. So I was completely in denial. I'm like, okay, this cannot happen, because my entire family is going to be very shameful of me, and I have to go through all of that. And I'm like, okay, I
Now,
have to
did you
connect
share this
myself.
with anyone at that time? Had you shared
I
this
did
with
not
anyone?
share. I did not share this with anyone, because I did not have that resources at that point of time. That's unfortunate back
Mhm.
in India, because nobody wants to talk about it openly, and
Right.
you'll be constantly judged by it. So I approached
Right.
a psychologist. I had therapy sessions with him, and then
How
I
old were
figured
you when
out.
you approached a psychiatrist? How old did you?
I was in my, I think, 20s at that point of time. But
Okay. Okay.
from 12 until that 20 age, I have had a lot of processing time for
Mhm.
myself, and I was
Lot of
completely living in
confusion.
that closet. I never went out, because people used to make fun of me, because I'm more like a tomboyish.
Okay.
Even now, wherever I go outside, a lot of people talk a lot about me. But that is how I am programmed to be. Like, so I used to hate going out, and I used to hate being in groups at that point of time, because a lot of people used to make fun of me. So I did not want to be a part of being in a social group or gatherings. So I just used to avoid it. I used to be very closeted. Although an extrovert, I used to be introvert at that point of time.
But you'd be surprised, living in San Francisco, you would think people would be a little bit more open and educated, right?
That's what I thought. The reason I came to the US, I literally ran away from my house, and then I ended up in the US. I thought that this could be different. Definitely, I would say there's a lot of cultural difference from India
Hmm.
and the US. But again, the mentality of Indians, wherever Indians are, people are always about judging, and the society, the norms, all of that conservativeness always comes into the picture. So that cannot be changed, I would say, because there's always this constant battle that we especially our community, have to go through, considering all the sexualities and the gender,
Right.
gender neutrality and all of that going on, right? So it's very difficult, because being an Indian, you're brought up in certain culture, and you're brought up in certain traditional values. So that is like, you're going against all of these norms, right? So you're constantly judged for that.
It's funny you say that. I mean, I'm way older than you, but growing up, I grew up in Kenya, and
Mhm.
also very similar to India, very strict environment, very strict parents. And I was in an all girls school. And I still remember that I came home, I think it was like 12 or 13, and I came home and I mentioned to my mom, I said, because, talking about sex or kissing was not even there. It wasn't even discussed. Even when movies came, they would send you out of the room to get a glass of water, right? Even if
Yeah.
a blouse is shown or anything. It was ridiculous. And I came home and I remember I told my mom that, I just saw two girls kissing in the school because I was in the much lower grade. And I said, do girls kiss? And I still remember my mom's reaction. She was floored. And the first thing she said is, "You're not going to school tomorrow." That was the first
Oh
thing.
my
And I said,
God.
"Why?" And then she couldn't pull me out of school. But then she said, "You're not hanging out with the bad girls. Those are bad girls. You're not going anywhere near them." And I still remember that stuck in my head as being bad girls. And when I look back, today I feel ridiculously stupid that I actually accepted it. But I was 12 years old. I knew nothing different. And those
Yes.
girls would be labeled bad. And I was so scared to go near them because I was told, okay, if I even see you near them, to jutta khaegi, ye karogi, ye wo, thappad, all this stuff, right? And now I look back and you look at that word bad and how quickly we label
Yeah.
bad. You're bad for what? Stealing. You're bad for doing this. You're bad for doing that. So we are a very judgmental society, and that is really sad. That is really sad. So I know you have very strong views about female oppression, right? Now, do
Mhm.
you feel that this is a lot more in India against the LGBTI community, or do you think it's happening here as well?
It's a lot more in India, definitely, I would say, because I've been there my entire life before moving here. So, I mean, things are changing a little bit, I would say, because, as you see, even Bollywood is coming up with a lot of concepts on
Yes.
LGBT movies and all of
Mhm,
that.
mhm.
And even the main actors are also being casted. So,
Right.
I see definitely there's an improvement. The reason I came out to my parents very recently is after watching a show, actually. That allowed me to have that confidence that I could come out. But again, when it comes back to the society being the society, because over here you have a lot of freedom, and even though Indians judge over here as well, but it's totally different because you do not have that constant outcast from all of these folks, right? Because all of them at the end of the day, they are your friends or they are your closed ones, but they are not like family. A lot of people who are living here, mostly they do not have families here. Like myself, example, I am by myself here. So back in India, yes, I have a lot of relatives and my family who are like deserted me. They have outcasted me, labeling me, constantly doing that. But over here, I still face that every single day. But at the end of the day, it doesn't bother me because it's not to that extent when I compare it back in home.
Right. So, going back, you said you just came out openly to your parents. So didn't they ask you all this time? I mean, I assume you've not married yet, right?
I was actually married and I got divorced very recently. My initially I thought my parents never had an idea, but the reason I had to come out to my parents is because I had to force myself to do that because
Mhm.
I couldn't come out for obvious reasons, because
Right.
number one struggle we all go through is the level of acceptance. Always.
Correct.
Since day one, I have been trying to get that acceptance from every single person that I love in my life. But I realized that that's not going to happen, and that's not going to give me that happiness that I'm looking for ever. Because I do not think this journey is something which anybody would understand unless and until they are in my own shoes. But I have given up that fact. But my mom, since my divorce, she's still sitting on top of my head every single day. She wants me to get married. She wants me to have this normal life. She thinks something is wrong with me. She thinks that, okay, if I get married to a guy, probably, I might turn straight. Lots of things.
But you were
Uh,
married to a guy in your first marriage, right?
yes, I was married to a guy because I was put under pressure,
Mhm.
and I had to do it for my family because lots of reasons. So they
That
got me
must that
most.
must have been a very difficult thing to do.
Yeah, I was married for 3 years, but again,
Yeah.
luckily things work out and we separated our ways. But again, it comes back to the same story.
Right.
Again, now they are forcing me to get married every single day. So I am
Your
like,
mom's
really
in
tired.
denial for whatever you've told her. She can't hear you.
My mom is completely in denial. I was shocked, in fact, because I had this conversation with her, but she's not ready to accept it, and she just, for that 2 hours of conversation we had, she completely erased that from her mind. She acts as if that never happened between us.
What about your dad?
My dad, same thing. So he is very
Same
supportive
thing.
of my mother. So
Yeah.
they both are the same.
I love what you said. You did an interview with the Time Business News, and I absolutely love this line. You said authors should use a pen to make sensible use of their abilities.
Mhm.
That's just fabulous. So, I know we all write as authors. Even I've written a book. We all write about how we feel and stuff. So
Mhm.
this moves me to your book. So tell us a little bit about this book that you've written and why you picked the name, Breaking the Barriers, and what made you feel that, okay, I have to write this.
Sure, sure. Yes, so Breaking the Barriers is my first book, and I'm super excited about the launch. So, this is an incredibly realistic story of love, desires, gender roles, and family dynamics. So, women's social position is typically determined by her other affiliations and duties. She is frequently seen as someone's mother or daughter
Mm.
rather than an individual. So, in addition, a religion has a significant impact on women's life, continually introducing additional levels of oppression. Because I'm a Hindu, right? So it's a difference when you speak about somebody who's a Christian. There are lots of different factors that include. So the book unveils the dark side of the society where women are not appreciated for the unpaid house chores, even till date, who are perceived as competent individuals, but rather by their importance in the male-dominated culture. So naturally, this restricts her goals and makes her a subordinate to the man of house's instrumental demands. So therefore, I decided I wanted to bring this as an attention to the domestication of women and their repressed urges. So I think no woman should be restricted or prevented from doing what she wants, even if it does not fall within the category of conventionalism again.
Correct.
So so here a woman is silenced and hushed when she tries to do something as unconventional, according to the society, as falling in love with another woman. So the topic of barring women from choosing their better halves is just utmost important, since they make a part of LGBTQ, so as they are named and shamed every single day. But again, time and time, LGBTI, as it represents our community, which is lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgenders, and intersex persons, as oppressed, ostracized, and threatened in many nations, as you see every single day and all over the news.
Mm-hmm.
So LGBT individuals continue to confront threats of violence, discrimination at work, in their personal lives, in every part of the globe. I myself face this every single day. When I came here to do the masters, I was, people knew about me over there at my college, and they started making fun of me. They started literally distancing themselves from me, thinking that I would change themselves, I would turn themselves into a gay or something like that. So they were literally like, okay, we have to stay away from her, she's not normal. So I have faced that a lot myself. So I think and even as you see, very recently, India has legalized the LGBTQ, the Section 377. So it was illegal in most of the countries having a consensual same-sex relationships. So the goal of this book is actually to influence many people's damaging attitudes against the oppressed population. So the fundamental goal is to make the world a more accessible and equitable place for everyone. So it's a society is which everyone, especially women, is free to assert their supremacy in many sectors. A world in which there are no victims of sexual and mental abuse by their husbands and dare to leave their toxic relationships. So I think lastly, a world where women can love someone similar to them, since no one knows your anguish and difficult is better than your own gender, obviously. So furthermore, the novel serves as a wake-up call to all the authors, I would say, reminding them that they should feel free to share their feelings and sympathies, and with an ostracized community. So because if those with the capability to use this pen do not have sense of do not make sensible of use of their abilities, I think change will be impossible. The concept of love should be preached to everyone regardless of gender or sexuality. So it should be emphasized that your sexual orientation has no bearing on your ability to love and exercise your rights. So you can choose people's mouths, but you cannot stop them from speaking, thinking, or acting.
Absolutely. And it is sad that you think, that women don't have the choice to even say no to their partner if they don't want to have, any relationship with them. It is really sad. And I was just finished watching a TV serial, which was so, even though there was a lot of violence, it was focused on, the family trying to take over, two families fighting, but they showed all the women being very oppressed in there, and it was terrible. So what would your message be to parents out there? I know that so many families know that their children, are different at home, but they deny. They don't even want to discuss it. They want to deny it, and those children are growing up like you grew up, and and I'm sure it takes a toll on the mental stress and how you feel, right? So, What would your message be out to parents there who possibly know that they have a child who's different at home, but they just want to not have that conversation? What would your message be to them?
My sincere message to all the parents would be to love your child the way they are, because see, I did not ask this, that I want to be this way, right? I was born this way, and I'm going to die this way. There's nothing that's going to change. I think that definitely the acceptance plays a very key role in all of our lives, because our entire journey has been about acceptance.
Mhm.
Acceptance in society,
Mhm.
because if there's a wife and a husband who are walking in the main road, holding hands in each other hands, nobody is going to comment at them. But
Correct.
let's say the same situation, you reverse the roles. If there's like two gay men, or they are like two lesbian women walking like that, people are constantly going to throw stones at them.
Right.
So it's very important that the families has that support, gives that backbone to their children, whoever they are, because it's mentally, there's a lot of trauma that goes through all of us. Definitely, it's
Mhm.
not easy, especially myself. For so many years, I was closeted. I was feeling claustrophobic. I couldn't breathe. There were times that I also felt suicidal. It's definitely not easy, because at one point of time I wanted to end this life, because I was like, there's nobody could accept me the way I am. Like, why am I supposed to be here? What is my purpose in life? I did not want to be alive anymore. But at that point of time, I decided that if I am thinking this way, then definitely there are a lot of people who are also thinking the same way. I wanted to make that change. I needed to be that change myself, and I wanted to have that voice out for everybody. Give that platform, saying that I am also a Hindu Brahmin, likewise individual like you guys are suffering. But I want to do something to my community. So I would request and urge all the parents to try to understand. It's definitely not easy for them to from where they are coming from, especially to understand the concept of LGBT. But I think definitely you can make an attempt. At least it's baby steps. You don't have to like literally open your arms and say, what, Beta, I love you so much. I love the way you are. No, but it definitely doesn't happen one night. I think it's a process that both the parents and the children have to go through it with lots of patience. But initially there must be a lot of anger, and they would be ashamed of
And blame.
what they
And
are.
blame.
Blame game, obviously.
Yeah, of
But
course.
I
Yeah.
think at the end of the day, it's your child. I think I'm the only child, by the way, and still, I'm still dealing with that denial process. But again, do not give up on your children. You have to literally make an attempt to understand them, rather than pushing them to get married to somebody who, it's like, you're pushing them to do something which they are not. It's not possible,
And I
definitely,
and I
for them
think you
to.
brought up something very important. You said you're born like that. So
Yeah.
families, I think, don't understand. They think that no, I can change you. And
There's a
yeah,
misconception that if they get,
yeah,
that's what my mom thought, if she
yeah,
gets me married to a guy, it's going to change
it's going to
whatever
change.
I
Yeah,
am.
yeah, yeah. So,
Yeah.
so if you could make one change for women today, because I know you feel there's so many different things that are affecting women today. Even what happened in India just last week with the 20-year-old lady is just terrible. If you could make one change for women today, what would be that one change Anusha wants to make?
Uh, there are lots of changes I would definitely want to make, but if I have to pick one change specifically, um, I would say, live your life, because it's too short and simple. Whatever you want to do, do not give importance to what the society would think about it. Because just because you're a woman doesn't mean that we have to always suppress ourselves, and always abide by the norms the
Right.
society laid out for us. Especially, even I have done that for so many years. It took me literally 28 years of my life to accept who I am. I was completely in denial. I never imagined that I would be here sitting in front of you, talking to you like this openly about it. It's definitely nothing wrong. If you want to be in love with whom you want to be. So I have a sincere message to all of the women, who are struggling to break away from their holy customs that are seemingly making you unworthy and unpure of loving. So whenever you hear that you're doing something unlawful, first of all, try getting it out of the ears at that very moment, because do not ever shy away from being in love, and always claim what's yours. So learn to appreciate your partner's presence. reliance, and protection, I would say. And that's the bare minimum you could do for your loved ones. Trust me. This is what I've learned throughout my experiences in life. I've had my fair share of struggles, but it has only taught me, no matter how pockmarked your story is with social taboos, never fear telling it to those who could emulate the confidence with which we are able to conquer things throughout they were a needle in a haystack. So go ahead, challenge all the stigmas, break the barriers of misogyny and patriarchy, and be the women of your own story, is what I would definitely suggest
And is
everybody.
Anusha going to write another book?
I am definitely, having that thoughts. So this book, initially, I thought I would make a sequel out of, but again, I wanted a happy ending. I did not want a sad ending of how usually the story ends in all of our lives. But I am thinking to write another genre.
So your book is already available, right? And it's available on Amazon?
So my book has been, the launch has been a little bit delayed because of Thanksgiving, New Year, and there was a little technical issue that's been going on.
Okay.
But it will be available in probably 3 weeks.
Wonderful, wonderful. And you're planning to have it available on Amazon?
Yeah, it's available on Amazon. It's available on all other websites as well. I'm really hopeful that the message gets out to the people, and it'll give the courage. At least if I can give the courage to one single person out there, if they could come out and share their story to openly like I did, I think I have done my part from mine. That's actually an achievement and success for me.
And in closing, let me ask you, if someone's listening to this today and they have not been able to come out in the open and they want to be able to reach you, can they reach you? Are you open to talking to somebody and helping them through this process?
Absolutely, I would love to do that, Rennu. It would be my honor to do that, because definitely it's not easy for anyone to go through all of it by themselves. I never had that opportunity to have that somebody who could rely on, especially back in India. There was nobody to talk to. That's why I was so suicidal. It's definitely not an easy process. So I am always there to help out and always there to talk to whoever they need help and dealing with this, or if they want to come out to their parents to go through that process. Especially, it's very emotionally consuming. So I definitely want to be there for individuals like that, and you could always reach out to me. I can pass on my contact. Definitely, I'll be happy.
We'll definitely, I'll definitely put the contact in there. And so, is Anusha actively single and looking to get hooked up and settle down?
Very interesting question you've asked me.
Well, I'm that nosy auntie. I have to know.
I am actively looking for a wife. Yes. It's been a very long time since my divorce. I've been actively looking. Unfortunate thing, I would also explain you. It's not that there are no gay women at all. They are there. Again, I feel so disappointed, and it really bothers me. If I usually attend a lot of LGBT events, especially San Francisco being the hub.
Right.
Unfortunately, I only find like 2 or 3 people who are only women who are gay in all of these events. Women do not come out usually. They do not. That's why I'm urging everybody to consider this as an opportunity. I have never come across somebody who is actually an Indian. So I'm specifically looking for an Indian person. Yeah, that's been very unfortunate for me.
That is interesting. Okay, because I kind of thought that there would have been a lot more here in San Francisco.
Everywhere I have had my profile. So a lot of people, they are looking for casual relationships, or they are looking to experiment mostly. They are not sure what they want in your life. They are just there to have fun or just explore. So I'm not the experiment. Unfortunately, you want to experiment with. I do not want to be that person. I do not have time for absolutely rubbish and nonsense relationships at all at this point of time. I'm seriously looking. That's why I said why, because I would like to get to know the person and get married.
And do you think Anusha will then want to have family?
I love kids a lot. So I
come and spend a day at my school.
Yeah, I definitely want to have kids. Yes.
Wonderful, wonderful. This has been so inspiring, and I really commend you. I thought I was courageous, but no, I can't stand up against how you come out, and you're so courageous to handle an issue that so many people don't want to talk about. So hats off to you, and thank you so much for having such a candid conversation with me and just, talking straight from your heart and being so open. And we really wish you all the happiness. And I really hope you find a nice wife and have lots of kids that you could send to our school. And
Well, thank you so much. I really hope I would someday.
absolutely. And as soon as your book is available, let us know so that we can all support you at our Building Women Empowered group to make sure that your book is
I
also
will definitely keep
successful
you
as you
posted.
are.
I'll definitely keep you posted.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Thanks.
Thank you, Rennu. Have a wonderful
Thank
day.
you.
Nice talking to you. Bye-bye.
After listening to Anusha today, I'm sure you all realize that the human race can be extremely cruel. And I think what we need to remember is if you have nothing nice to say to someone, then say nothing. Try and treat people with empathy and respect. Show compassion. They have the right to live the life that they've chosen as you have the right to live yours. I will leave you with this thought. People may hate you for being different and not conforming to society norms, but deep down, those very same people probably wish they had the courage to do the same. Thank you for joining us at Candid Conversations with Rennu Dhillon. As you know, this show is about saluting all the women who are progressive and making a difference in their life and the lives of others. If you know anyone that should be on this show that has a story to share, whether it's personal or professional, definitely reach out to us. Our contact information is on the last slide, and we look forward to having many more candid conversations. See you next time.